Practioner. The time is 9 a.m. on the dot, Central African time. And we're shifting gears now from hard news to the power of stories and South African creativity on the global stage. A group of local authors and literary practitioners have been representing South Africa at the Moscow International Book Fair out in Russia, bringing our voices, our perspectives, and narratives to one of the world's most vibrant platforms for writers and readers. And joining us now is one of our own, Shafinaaz Hassim. She's a literacy practitioner and presenter of Bookbytes right here on Salam Media. Shafinaaz knows the South African literary scene inside and out, and she's been part of this exciting delegation that headed to Moscow. Good morning, Shafinaaz. Great to have you with us. Welcome to your home, Salam Media.
Okay, to be on the show. I think I'm still brimming with all the excitement from the trip, but so glad to share with you a lot. It's been such a fantastic opportunity and so important that South Africa was taken as a delegation for the first time to the Moscow Book Fair. So I must commend our hosts, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, for doing such a spectacular job of creating this relationship and allowing this platform this week.
No, most definitely. And firstly, congratulations, you yourself being part of that delegation to the Moscow International Book Fair. Just give us a bit of context. How did this invitation come about? And most importantly, what does it mean for South African literature to be showcased there at the world stage with some of the best on the globe?
I think what's happened is there's a books and publishing sector within the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, and they scout for local authors and publishers every year and try to connect with different festivals around the world. And they've been trying to create this opportunity for local writing to be showcased in other parts of the world. So this year in particular, I got a call. So as you know, I work for the Center for Creative Arts in Durban. I was actually in Durban these last 3 months, going to the right of the year. And we got a call about 2 weeks before the trip where we were finalized as 12 that would be representing Moscow. We were made up of a group of authors from around the country, also publishers and literary practitioners from different spaces. I don't have the full list in front of me, but we were well represented from both Afrikaans, the traditional languages, and English writers. And we were taken across along with 2 or 3 officials from the department. They had basically shortlisted from a large list, and I think that they get these recommendations and also watch both in the self-publishing independent space and in the traditional publishing space to see how to best represent the country with the specific space. So when the call comes, it's usually a quick turnaround of getting your visa. In this case with Russia, we didn't need visas. And getting everyone, completely processed for their travel. Just a week. We left on the 2nd of December and we were back on the 9th. The fair itself was from the 1st to the 7th, and it was a working trip. We both connected with other writers. We also had time at the stall so that we could meet readers one by one as they came up to our stall. So it was a fantastic experience all around.
What would you say, was the highlight, of the trip? Was the reading session, some of the panel discussions, or maybe just general conversations with, other authors that probably stuck with you the most?
Well, absolutely, so many. I mean, you touched on all the high points because on the one hand, we were allocated 2 panel discussions. The one was the children's and youth panel, which was very interesting. We obviously had to work with the translators. So it was a little lower energy than what we expected. Normally, you get a flow conversation. The great thing was it was inclusive. The interpreters really worked hard to carry our message across. I moderated a panel on the publishing lab in Africa and how we could collaborate with the global partners to get our stories out there and to bring international stories, Russian stories back into South Africa. So I had 4 people on panel. I had Tabiso Malapi, formerly of Blackbird Books. I had Elif van der Sant, who was with the South African Book Development Council, and she also worked with the Book Festival, which is one of our successful festivals in South Africa. I had Refilwe Modisele, who's recently written a children's book on albinism, and I also had Vonani Bila, who's an institution in South Africa. We all know him straight out of Limpopo, is one of the best and most famous poets. He's created so much through his Kimbela project. And we had a very, very high-powered discussion about, I think we really represented well. I feel proud and satisfied that we did justice. The real highlight was when people came up to our store. Some spoke English, some wanted to, create the message. They were so happy to have us on the ground. And they wanted to learn about South Africa, and they wanted to learn about what our stories represented and what we were writing about. So we were very well received. We were the only English-speaking sort of stall at the fair, and people were very excited. Students came up to us wanting to know more. It was very heartening. It was very heartwarming as well to see the way in which we were received.
No, most definitely. And I think this ties in with my next question because you host Bookbytes here on Salam Media, and you engage with so many South African writers and many South African stories. In your view, what makes South African stories so distinct, especially on the international stage, that they prompt such curiosity?
I think that we're very proud about our heritage to begin with, and we represent those stories in our heritage. If we look at the vast number of writers in our country, both Indian writers and those that are well established in the industry, we are unapologetic about the stories we tell. And even if we come from different backgrounds, we don't see each other as immigrants that belong somewhere else. We very proudly embrace all the different cultures within our space, and we write those into our stories. Our stories are like a mass dotted line of social documents that carry all of our experiences. And I think that's what's fascinating for the world out there. Is we're incredibly inclusive from such a small space. See that in our literary, in our representation of our literary landscape. I'm so proud that we get to represent that on Bookbytes. We get to represent that on all our platforms, and I get to represent that in the festivals as well. So we have much to be proud of because we think of ourselves as this tiny little geographical location. But the world is strong in account. I think the world is definitely watching and celebrating from afar, and we have much to offer.
No, most definitely. Shafinaaz, Jasakla, so much for joining us and for representing South Africa, I think, at the world stage. Really, really happy for you. And hope to see you and hear you back on air again for Bookbytes.
All the best of the season. Keep reading people because stories.
Well, there you have it. We're going to take a quick break. News and views continues after this.